past 7. Welcome back to Sunrise today. Well, that's our focus today on the program. And, Chris Marlowe joins us now. He's a security consultant and an ex-US Army intelligence officer. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Thank you.
Well, suddenly, mouthful, handful, tough one. Unfortunate scenario here. But, yes, some questions will be basic and some others may, well, as much as they may seem to be basic, but I mean, when these kind of things happen now and again, you just kind of wonder what really is going on. How do we explain all of this one? But again, all eyes on security.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, my heart goes out to, all the people that died and people that are injured. I think it was a horrible explosion. But again, we see the same thing over and over again. And, the federal government keeps telling us that they're actually doing some work and they're working on this, but to the public, it feels like they're not doing enough. So it's a horrible incident, and I pray that we can get over it.
Sometimes when you even look at this, and in some cases, even if you stand back and say, okay, let's examine the authorities' comments in terms of what they're doing, and then you now say, well, yes, much as they say this, but how do they check? Do they have all those parameters, those checks and balances to ensure that if an instruction is given from up there, it gets down to its actual intention?
That's a problem nationwide. Efficiency and effectiveness. Last time I was on this program, I think we all discussed this. The problem still persists. Now, Nigeria, the way we look at things, the federal government keeps defending itself. We feel like they're being very defensive, okay? And they keep saying, well, it happens in other countries. Well, the same thing does not happen in other countries. They tell us, well, there's terrorism everywhere. But in the Western world or in the US, for example, we had the 9/11 incident. Okay, and then I ask people now, how long after the 9/11 incident did you have the Boston Marathon bombing? That was about 12 years. You didn't hear anything within those 12 years. But here, persistently, every day, we have killings in Borno, Yobe, here, Abuja, Lagos. Every day there's a killing. So if you're actually doing something, the public wants to see what is it that you're actually doing. It's not giving orders. Giving orders is easy. It's how do you effectively carry it out? Now, there's a plan to solve this problem of terrorism in Nigeria, and I laid down the plans the last time I came here. I told them they have to go by the guidelines that I've given. We know that, it seems like the federal government doesn't really listen to anyone, so I guess I was just talking. But if they were listening, there's a way that we can do this to catch up, because we're playing catch up. We're playing medicine after death. It's after it's happened. Now we come out and do a speech. It doesn't really help anyone. I think we need to, dial it back.
Well, it would seem somehow unfair when we say, well, they're not listening, because I'm sure they have security report on a daily basis, and definitely they must have been acting on such report, maybe for the fact that they haven't actually followed your template, or rather, what makes you think that they haven't actually followed your template? Let's look at the template you talked about.
Okay, well, let's revisit the template. Remember the last time we spoke? We said that, first of all, there are too many security agencies, pretty much almost doing the same thing. So I think they need to streamline, maybe cut some security agencies off, align it very well. We also talked about that they need to set up a Department of Homeland Security. We also talked about, closing the borders, making sure we monitor the borders very well, because that's another area where, we have a lot of incidents, people coming in and going out without monitoring. We also talked about them having, intelligence analysts, intelligence gatherers. We talked about training these people very well. We also talked about vetting, the vetting process. It's not about setting up an organization. It's more about how do you vet the people that are in it for them to do an effective and efficient work. So if you say that they might, let's say, for example, it looks like they might have been following it, but there's no milestone. Let's say, for example, if there's a bombing today, we say, okay, well, let's not see another one 6 months from now. Do you understand what I'm saying? If that happens, then we'll now begin to believe that it looks like the federal government is doing something. But when it keeps happening over and over, you keep reassuring us that everything is okay. The public doesn't trust you.
No, well, talking about environment now, let's look at the peculiar situation or peculiar environment we are in the country. Okay. And you try to marry that with what is happening or what happened in the United States, and vis-a-vis what is happening in Afghanistan. You see that there are a lot of difference in the topography, in the landscape, and even the culture of the people. Doesn't all of these also, stall some of those moves that would have been employed by the security operatives?
You mean here in Nigeria? Well, it could be. I mean, I really don't know what it is they're doing. The way we, the public, judge what happens is how it feels to us. So yes, the federal government could be doing something. I mean, I'm sure they are doing something, but how effective is what they're doing to us, the public? Because we are the ones that feel these things every day. And we're feeling that nothing is not being done. Some people are looking at this as, well, 2015 is coming up. The election is about, so we keep deferring, these bombings to other things other than what it is. And what it is efficiency and effectiveness. Mm-hmm. The people we haven't heard that someone has been fired, for not doing their work. We haven't heard that the federal government fired this person or that person for not doing this or doing that. And then we talk about the intelligence community.
Yeah, I think they have actually. I think the former police chief was removed because of this one. Then you had several changes of the hierarchy of army service chiefs
being realigned and things like that. And that's wonderful.
To this.
But we believe that they need to do a little bit more. Again, we're not seeing the results of everything or the things that they're working on. The bombings continue. I can predict how many people that could die tomorrow.
Is it, my colleague already said something about not being fair, because this is when you talk about bombings happen on a daily basis, one of the things that the federal government talks about is being able to contain terror to a part of a country where they know that, this is where it is concentrated. So for instance, when they're talking about security, they say we have been able to ensure that we've been able to contain this somewhere in the northeastern part of the country, which is where we're concentrating our resources and fighting off terrorism. But this is definitely a surprise attack after 2 years. I mean, Abuja, the last time this happened there was sometime when this day headquarters was bombed, sometime in 2012. So can we really be fair to say that the federal government isn't doing enough? Or are we seeing a desperate attempt by the terrorists to come back and create fear amongst us, to create this type of reaction that says the federal government isn't doing anything?
Well, yeah, I mean, like I said, they could be doing something. Mm-hmm. But the problem with that theory is the people are not feeling what it is you're doing. You're not containing the terrorists. You're not doing it. Okay, even if you're containing it, are they not human beings? The people that are dying in the Northeast, are they not people? Are they not our fellow citizens? The federal government well, I don't want to blame the federal government, but it seems as if the human lives are not worth anything. It's not enough to come out and make public speech and go to these people and say, we're sorry. I think we need their security agencies to come out to the public and explain, don't give us your plans. We're not saying give us your detailed plan on what it is you're planning, but let's talk. Talk to us. Let us know what it is you're actually trying to do. How do you plan on curtailing these terrorists? Because so far it's not working, whatever it is you're doing. You can appropriate $10 or let's say 10 naira to fight terrorism. But if you put 90%, but if you spend 90% of that money, or if you put 90% of that money in your pocket and you're using 10% of it, it's not going to be effective. I'm not saying that's what's happening, but again, we're not stupid. We know that how politics is played here. Al-Qaeda, Boko Haram is working with AQIM. They're working with AQAP. They're working with the Hezbollah. All these terror cells have a specific goal, what it is they're doing in Nigeria. Let me tell you, these guys are well organized. They are professionals at what they do. We just need to learn to be professionals at what we do. The security agencies need to talk to one another and agree with one another. When intelligence comes in here, we need to make sure that it moves with the speed of light and is well disseminated. But what happens is sometimes when intelligence comes, someone sits on it and believes that they don't need to share with the other security agencies. The other security agencies thinks they're superior to the other agency. By the time they're done playing politics with intelligence, it's too late. What we want to see is before terrorists attack, we want to see that you foiled it. Now you can say that you've foiled terrorist attack here. You might be doing something, but the public is still not feeling it. There are solutions to solving these problems. And again, I keep going down to solutions. I mean, we could talk about this all day long, but let's focus on how do we solve this problem and solve it effectively.
I think that's why we're here talking about this. So what do you think we should be doing?
Again, first of all, right now at this moment, I think there should be a security awareness program. For me and my company, we're already doing a security awareness training for major corporations. We just finished one with NNPC.